Good evening. It's a pleasure for the Embassy of the Republic of Cuba, in collaboration with the India International Center and the Ace Gold One Foundation, to welcome you to the screening of the Cuban film The Eye of the Canary. In celebration of the 75th anniversary of independence of India, and in commemoration of the 127th anniversary of the fall in combat of our national hero, José Martí. The film recreates the life of José Martí between the age of 9 and 17, a period in which he got to know his homeland closely and learning to love, understand, and fight for it. Distinguished guests, we are honored this evening with the presence of the Honorable Minister of the State of the External Affairs, Shrimati Meenakshi Lekhi, distinguished members of the Diplomatic Corps, their officials, professors, students with their families and friends all. Thank you very much for your presence. Now it's a pleasure to give the floor to Ramit Singh, member of the International Jury of José Martí Prize of the UNESCO.
All right, thank you so much, Malena, and thank you so much for all of you who are here. I see such a mixed crowd and such a varied crowd with school students, college students, ambassadors from different countries. Of course, Ms. Lekhi, you're here as well, and parents, members of the IIC. I think it's wonderful to see this diaspora, because this is really what José Martí always ended up standing for. It's about all of us being human beings, irrespective of who we are, irrespective of our diversity, all of us being collectively together as humans, right? And today's movie is obviously going to be absolutely fantastic, because it's so simple in its presentation of his journey as a child till the age of about 16 or 17, from the age of 9. And different things that happened in his life over that period, the things that he noticed, the things that he saw, which actually helped frame his ideals and his principles, which he espoused right till this very day, 127 years ago, when he fell in combat, trying for the independence of Cuba. What also makes this day very, very special for all of us is that we are joined by a lot of school students here, with whom over the last 1 month or so we engaged in an activity where we presented them with the ideals of José Martí. We tried to introduce them to the ideas of liberty, of equality, of humanity, all the various things that José Martí stood for, and they did absolutely a wonderful task of putting up all of these wonderful paintings and poems that they created as their expression, as a tribute towards José Martí. And as you'll keep seeing over here, I think our task to try and identify the students we'd like to invite for this screening and to try and present, of course, a token of our appreciation to was extremely difficult, because of just the wonderful quality of artwork, poetry, presentations that was on display. We got hundreds and hundreds of submissions in, all of whom, I think more than anything else, really engaged with the spirit of José Martí and his ideals, right? So to those of you who are present here, the principals, the students, and so on and so forth from all of these schools, thank you very much for doing this for us. And I think for us, it's an absolute honor to have all of you have your children make all of these submissions for this. What I'd also definitely like to do right now is at least acknowledge some of those who really went out of their way towards helping with these submissions. And there's of course a few tokens of appreciation we'd like to give to the school, which ended up sending us the maximum number of entries for this. And we also have 4 of the children who, at least in our opinion, gave absolutely outstanding contributions towards this activity, and we'd like to get them up on stage as well and give them a token of our appreciation. But for that, I'd like to invite Madam Meenakshi Lekhi, as well as the Honorable Ambassador Marin, to come up and join the children up here. So, and if you can have the mementos that we have to give to them as well brought up forward, that would be very useful. Right. So first, what we'd like to do is we'd like to call upon the school which sent us the maximum number of entries. That was Ujjwal Shiksha Senior Secondary School from Haryana. I think they really took this opportunity to try and inculcate these values of, please, if you can please start coming up now. What they did was, I think, right through their entire school, from junior school to middle school to senior school, we got over 300 entries from their school. And all of them ended up engaging with artwork, with some of the paintings that you see up here, which they ended up sending with write-ups, with their understanding of these words of education and humanity and liberty, and it's just absolutely wonderful to see that. So we've got their principal up here right now. Very much, ma'am, for the wonderful contribution. What I'd also like is to invite the 4 students whose work we'd like to showcase to all of you before we play the movie. We have Anika Bajaj, who's come all the way from Chandigarh with her father just this morning, especially for this. We have also Srina Bose. You're right there, Srina. Please come up. We also have Adona Marin, if you can come up as well, please. And Abeer Bahl, has Abeer reached yet? Abeer? Has Abeer reached yet? Perfect, Abeer, please come. Thank you. So, the first one that we'd like to show you is by Anika Bajaj. Now, this beautiful painting that she's done is actually a cloth painting, and again, I don't think the photograph of this does her justice, because the kind of technique she used for this cloth painting, especially for the expressions of José Martí on his face, they were absolutely wonderful in the original painting, right? And the next one is Abeer Bahl, who's a 9-year-old right here from Delhi. And as a 9-year-old, to have created something of this sort with the kind of strokes he has used, as you can see, the different kinds of techniques that he's used in the painting is absolutely fantastic. Next, we've got 2 poetry recitations, which are about 3 minutes each, so I think it'll be a pleasure for all of you to listen to them. The first one we've got is we've got Srina Bose's narration, which you will hear in a bit. I think all of us, when we heard it for the first time, by the end of it, we had a little bit of a tear in our eyes, just of how relatable it was, how relatable to José Martí, as well as relatable to everything around us and all our lives as well, right? So, this is about to start in a few minutes from now.
A tribute to José Martí. A home, not a colony. With my face to the sun, I lie. My wounds bleed my rebellion, and in the late hours of the day, I wait for my Cuba to become a home, not a colony. You surround me, my broken bones and my tattered pages. You sit on your despotic throne and make the Cuba of my heart a colony, not a home. For when to speak is to sin and to write is to die, your chains find themselves on every part of me, except my voice. You rule over the graves of all the liberties you have killed, but you are unaware that like a phoenix, even when I count my last breaths, I will rise from my ash and return to my Cuba. I will return to a home, not a colony. You can put me behind bars and take away my quill, but with the blood I bleed, the walls of this prison shall be a witness to my poetry. I will lie with my face to the sun, and I will die with my face to the sun. And I will ask you, how long will you stay? How long will you stay? How long will it take for my existence to become the revolution? How long will it take for your throne to be expelled in the darkness? How long will you claw your way through my mother's skin? How long will you stay? How long will you stay? Years have passed, and you've moved on. You have left my home for another, history has left my mother for another, and the present burns in a different fire. My Cubans have persevered, and so have I. Through history, time and space, like a phoenix, I have risen. I've returned to a home, not a colony, but there are others being torn apart in theirs. I look at Ukraine and Russia, their bloodshed staining innocent lives. I look at Israel and Palestine, terror groups and ruthless politics. I think of Taliban and Afghanistan, how injustice claws its way through women, children and religion. I think of the light we enjoy that doesn't reach them. So these are not my homes and their blood, not my blood, but when I die, with my face to the sun, I die not just for Cuba. I die for all the places in the world that fight the same fight we have fought. I die for the places where liberty has been reduced to just a 7-lettered word, expelled from dictionaries, hidden from vocabulary. I die for the places where democracy exists only in a history chapter. I die for the places where war has become the background music to an ordinary morning and children more accustomed to the sound of air raids than the flipping open of a book. Though these homes are not mine, these fights still are. Though my body is long dead, my legacy isn't. These fights aren't. So as I rise from the ashes of the brothers, sisters and mothers before me, I lie with my face to the sun and I pray for a home, not a colony. Thank you.
Srina, you have to stand up for this and tell everyone that claps for you. Genuinely thank you. It's absolutely beautiful. And the final one, you also Adona, the little child who's, where's Adona, where are you? Raise your hand. Adona, there right you are, there you are. This is her, so she first sent this in to us. And as I was telling her and her mother as well, we were furiously Googling and trying to find which poem was this. And then we realized that it was self-composed and it just was absolutely wonderful. And you'll hear her narrate it as well right now.
When I first heard the lines of I Cultivate a Rose, written by José Martí, I was simply lost for years. My only desire was to have a conversation with José Martí. So here I would like to share a self-composed poem titled Conversation with José Martí. What is I? Is I just the body, or is the body limited to the eye? What is peace? Is peace as innocent as a snowflake, or as calm as the sea? What is love? Is love compassionate? Is love shy? What is freedom? Is freedom letters, or is it words? What is the universe? Is it news, or is it mysteries? What is the meaning of the white rose that you planted in your garden, to which you poured water, the same water with which you drank tea? What do you mean, José Martí? Are you real, or are you just a dream? You are yourself. The I is you. The body is you. Peace is like a gushing torrent, never stopping to breathe. Love is caring, sharing, and peace all mind. And freedom? Well, that's self-expression. What is a universe, you ask? That's the world you see and beyond. It has no limit, and it's you. And here I tell you the meaning of my white rose. Be brave, beautiful, and bright. I poured it with my drinking water, for I knew it would give out light. And finally, who am I? I am who you see in front of you. I am as real as a bubble on fire and true as a little hummingbird. Thank you.
In the entire presentation, she had her head down, but you'll have to stand up now, Adona. You have to get all the claps that you deserve. Thank you. All right. And the last thing that I have to say to all the other students and to all the other principals who participated and who sent in their submissions, we've obviously put some of them outside. So after the movie, for everyone else here, please do take a look at some of the other artwork that was submitted. And thank you very much. Thank you for everything.
Congratulations to all the students. We kindly request the Honorable Minister of the State, Meenakshi Lekhi, to honor us with a few words, please.
Honorable Ambassador of Cuba, Mr. Alejandro Simancas Martí, members of Diplomatic Corps, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very pleased to be here, and especially the presentation of young children which I've seen really wins me over. Apart from the fact that we are celebrating 130, celebrating is probably not the right word, commemorating the life of José Martí Perez, which is amazing not only for Cuban but the world across, because he stood not as a rebellious force but as a person who was living multiple lives at the same time, 1,000 lives if I may say. His journey from Haryana to Paris via New York, all the things that he did 137 years ago. And the only dream, as I see young children around us, same age group, 9 to 16, he was dreaming of what? He was dreaming of freedom for his country. And we've had many such cases, and when we are celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, 75 years of India's independence, all the unsung heroes who sacrificed themselves for the freedom of the country, it kind of resounds in me. A person of multiple talents, a journalist, a philosopher, a writer, and never less than a leader all the time, nevertheless. I see many of these youngsters. I'm sure they exhibit the leadership which our country has to offer. This is our future, and the kind of investment which has been made in them through the education and the kind of syncretic expression which they have exhibited through the piece of work of art and also poetry. I'm very assured of the future of our country, of course through the expression of Cuba. And when I was thinking and reading about José Martí Perez, I also learned the kind of work he had done for Cuba. And one couple of lines I picked up, and one such line is, "The right man is not the one who moves to the side of better living, but is the one who moves to the side where duty lies. That is the real man." And these lines resounded with me. I felt most of us who have chosen the life we have chosen, of course we had the luxury of choosing a life we wanted to live. We were not battling against time, which maybe José Martí and such revolutionaries were battling against. They had very little options. We had the options, and we chose the life we chose, but on the side of the duty. And so I love these words, and with these words I also want to extend my gratefulness and thanks to the ambassador for having invited me here. And another thing which I noticed was, which I would share with all of you, that José Martí obviously enjoys a status in Cuba which is unmatched with anybody else, and he's called the Apostle. And because he's called the Apostle, on one of his writings, one of his early plays, Abdullah, that was the name of the COVID-19 vaccine which Cuba invented. So it only goes to show that this person who we are going to get to be introduced or learn more about through the movie is someone who's loved in Cuba, whose work is really appreciated. And I'm sure all the young children and others who have read him would relate to him, that the kind of aspirational class he exhibited. Of course, Cuba got free much after his life, and he's remembered till date. I would say the same story lies with us. Many of our revolutionaries died an unknown death, but their memories, their aspirations live through us, all of us who enjoy the freedom and put our country before anything else. And this resonates with a whole lot of us. And at the end, I must say that I request Ambassador Simancas to convey my best of regards to Mr. Fernando Perez for directing this movie, which is not only enlightening, but it also indicates, it resonates our thoughts for our freedom. And as one of the poetry which was recited by one of the child, that this life we live is not just for ourselves, this is for such causes which are across the globe, and freedom, justice, fraternity being one. If we all work towards that, we will be commemorating and celebrating José Martí many, many years post his life, and in death he lives on. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much. Now it's a pleasure to give the floor to our Ambassador of the Republic of Cuba, Alejandro Simancas Marin.
Namaskar everyone. Honorable Srimati Meenakshi, Minister for Foreign Affairs, thank you very much for your words. We deeply appreciate it. Thank you very much. We are honored by your presence with us tonight. It's a real honor to pay together tribute to José Martí, who symbolizes the best values of our country, and through him to the 75th anniversary of India's independence, and extend our heartfelt congratulations to his people and his government. The value of India in its struggle against colonialism, for national unity and for independence are the same ones that Martí raised in the 19th century and that later provoked the admiration and respect of Cubans to India. I also appreciate the assistance of official authorities, ambassadors, my colleagues, members of the diplomatic corps, professors, students, friends. I would like to highlight the presence among us and in some way to recognize the work of the professors Sonia Gupta and Vivia Maurya, who through their dedication to José Martí have become pillars of our friendly relationship with India. I also appreciate the support provided by the authorities of the Indian International Center for the organization of this activity. And I must dedicate a few special words to Ramit, Singh, Chimni, here, my friend Ramit, who is a member of the jury of the International UNESCO José Martí Prize, which was instituted in November 1994 by the Executive Board of UNESCO. Ramit is one of those essential persons. He and the member of his organization, Aid One Foundation, make up of team of humanists who work as the organization, and also José Martí proclaims, for a world that focuses on what is right for all and not what benefits a few. And they do it with such an enthusiasm, energy, and determination that are worthy of admiration. Thanks to them, we have been able to develop this beautiful initiative with the children, the one who really deserve the greatest applauses and all the praise. Incredible, the children, really no words to really recognize everything that they have done. It is really invigorating and emotional to see the children to develop all their creative capacity inspired by Martí's life and work. Of them, José Martí wrote, "We work for the children because the children are the ones who know how to love, because children are the hope of the world." That is why in each school in Cuba, you will find always a bust of José Martí. Martí is education, permanent teaching and learning. He wrote, "To educate is to give man the keys to the world, which are independence and love, and to give him a strength to journey on his own, light of a step, a spontaneous and free being." Martí embodies the best values and ideas of the Cuban people. It is the reflection of the best of us, and at the same time our permanent aspiration in the march of building a better country for all Cubans. That is why the preamble of the Cuban Constitution begins with a José Martí phrase, "I want the first law of our republic to be the cult of the Cubans to the full dignity of the human being." Martí is national independence, sovereignty, social justice for all, equity, and social justice with all and for the good of all, as he wrote. Martí is the unity of the nation, especially in the face of the hegemonic pretensions that we have faced and we face today, and whose the clearest reflection is the illegal and criminal blockade of the United States. Martí's honesty, justice, sacrifice, freedom, friendship, ethic, and solidarity. Martí is the sense of aesthetic and beauty in his highest form, which cannot be separated from love. Due to his poetry and prolific literary work, he became one of the main Latin American writers of the 19th century and a precursor of the modernist literary movement. I would like to highlight that among his many narratives, one about India stands out, in which he describes the city of Jaipur with extraordinary beauty and imagination, despite the fact that he was never able to visit India. I sincerely recommend these writings about Jaipur. This is a good way to dive into the beauty of the city through the power of words. Furthermore, Martí is anti-colonialism, anti-imperialism. He is the Latin America vocation of unity, and he is also the sense of humanity, diversity, and respect. In the same way, we proclaim Vasudeva Kutumbakam. For us, Martí is Cuba. Cuba was his greatest love, and for her, he gave his life on a day like today, May 19, but in the year 1895, 127 years ago, fighting in the fields of Cuba in a place in the eastern Cuba known as two rivers. So I invite you to watch the film The Eye of the Canary, directed by Fernando Perez, one of the main Cuban filmmakers, which covered the life and transformation of the Martí child and adolescent into a man. Allow me to comment just a moment which is not exactly in the film. At the end of the film, you will see the moment when he is taken prisoner by the Spanish colonialist forces at only 16 years old. At that moment, he was tied with a shackle on his foot. After that, he had the metal of that shackle melted into a ring on which he carved the word Cuba. That ring he carried with him all his life until the day he was died. So we thanks again all who have threatened José Martí as a bridge of love and friendship between Cuba and India. With Martí, we glorify the best universal values of independence and freedom, as summoned by the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav of India on the occasion of his 75th anniversary of independence. Thank you very much.